February 2026. A cold night in Madrid. The air is sharp. The stadium lights cut through the darkness like spotlights on a stage. 80,000 people hold their breath inside the Santiago Bernabéu. And then, it happens. Kylian Mbappé receives the ball just outside the box. One touch. Acceleration. A defender tries to catch him. Too late. Mbappé shoots. Goal. The net shakes. The stadium erupts. That goal was number 50 in La Liga. And suddenly, history starts whispering. Because only Cristiano Ronaldo reached that milestone faster. But here's the real story. That goal wasn't just a sporting moment. It was a financial signal. Because while the rest of Europe is struggling to survive under financial fair play, Real Madrid is doing something completely different. They're getting richer. Much richer. While clubs across Europe worry about bankruptcy, Madrid is quietly building the most powerful economic machine in football history. This isn't just a football team anymore. It's an empire. Welcome to the age of Galáctico 2.0. The Mbappé Investment. For almost a decade, the Mbappé transfer felt like a myth. Every summer, the rumors returned. Would he leave Paris? Would Real Madrid finally sign him? Or would the deal collapse again? But in 2024, the impossible finally happened. Kylian Mbappé arrived in Madrid, and the reaction across football was immediate. Some fans celebrated, some rivals panicked, but economists and sports executives noticed something else. Because Mbappé wasn't just a transfer, he was an investment. A very expensive one, but also a very calculated one. Within weeks of his arrival, the impact was visible. Shirt sales exploded across Europe, Asia, and North America. Real Madrid's social media gained millions of new followers. Global sponsors suddenly wanted new contracts. And every Mbappé goal started generating something bigger than applause. Attention. And in modern football, attention is currency. The man behind the machine. But Mbappé isn't the mastermind of this system. The architect is sitting far away from the pitch, in the presidential office. Florentino Pérez, a construction tycoon, a strategist, and possibly the most powerful businessman in football. Pérez understands something many football clubs still don't. Football isn't just a sport. It's the largest entertainment industry on Earth. And the clubs that dominate attention will dominate money. Back in the early 2000s, Pérez tested this theory with the original Galácticos. Zidane, Figo, Beckham, Ronaldo. They weren't just footballers. They were global celebrities. And they turned Real Madrid into the most recognizable sports brand in the world. But that first experiment had a flaw. It was glamorous, but financially unstable. So Pérez redesigned the system. And what he built next is far more dangerous. Because Galáctico 2.0 isn't about flashy signings. It's about economic domination. The stadium that changed everything. The real revolution isn't Mbappé. It isn't Vinicius. It isn't Jude Bellingham. The real revolution is a building. The new Santiago Bernabéu. At first glance, it looks like a futuristic stadium. Steel, glass, LED panels wrapping the entire structure. But financially, it might be the most important stadium ever built. Because the Bernabeu is no longer just a place for football. It's a 24-hour revenue generator. Concerts, NFL games, esports tournaments, corporate events, luxury hospitality experiences, tourism, massive retail spaces. The Bernabeu can even retract its pitch and close its roof, which means it can transform into a giant indoor arena in minutes. Most football stadiums sit empty most of the week. The Bernabeu doesn't. It works every day. Some financial analysts estimate the stadium could generate hundreds of millions of euros per year, which means Real Madrid isn't just selling tickets. They're selling entertainment infrastructure. The Premier League illusion. Now, here's where things get controversial. For years, the Premier League was considered the richest league in football. Massive TV deals, huge sponsorships, billions flowing through the system. But look closer, and the picture changes. Chelsea has spent enormous sums rebuilding its squad. Manchester United carries massive debt. Clubs across the league report financial losses despite record revenues. Even ambitious teams like Aston Villa are walking a tightrope with financial fair play. Why? Because their model is based on spending first and solving problems later. Owner funding, huge transfer fees, massive wage bills. But Real Madrid operates under a completely different philosophy. They don't rely on billionaire owners. They rely on financial gravity. Money flows towards them, not the billion-euro club. Real Madrid's financial projections are staggering. The club expects revenues approaching 1 billion euros per year. That number used to sound impossible in football. Now it's becoming reality. And when your revenue reaches that level, financial fair play stops being a restriction. Instead, it becomes a competitive advantage. Because the rules limit spending relative to income, which means the richest clubs can spend the most legally. And Real Madrid's income keeps growing, faster than almost anyone else. The squad strategy. Another reason Real Madrid stays financially stable is how they build their team. They don't chase aging superstars anymore. They buy future legends. Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Jude Bellingham. Young, elite, marketable. And now, Mbappe. These players are not only great footballers, they're financial assets. Their market value rises every season, which means the squad itself becomes part of the club's economic strength. Real Madrid isn't just building a team, they're building a portfolio.
Psychological advantage. Money isn't the only reason players choose Madrid. There's something deeper: prestige, history, legacy. For generations, Real Madrid has positioned itself as the ultimate destination in football. If you want to win the Champions League, if you want global fame, if you want to become a legend, you go to Madrid. And that reputation creates an invisible advantage. Players are willing to wait years for the opportunity, just like Mbappe did. He could have moved to England, he could have stayed in Paris, but he waited for Real Madrid. Now the results are starting to match the strategy. Mbappe's speed terrifies defenders. Vinicius destroys defensive lines. Bellingham controls the midfield like a veteran. The attack feels almost unfair, and every goal Mbappe scores adds more energy to the brand. Sponsors want exposure, broadcasters want audiences, fans want highlights, which creates a powerful feedback loop. More attention, more revenue, more stars, more trophies. If Real Madrid's strategy continues to work, European football may be entering a new era, an era where success is built long before kickoff, in stadium design, in global marketing, in billion-euro balance sheets. And if that happens, the gap between Madrid and the rest of Europe could become enormous, because football is no longer just a sport, it's an economy. And right now, Real Madrid might be the most powerful economic force the game has ever seen. And standing at the center of this machine, running past defenders, scoring historic goals, and smiling under the lights of the Bernabeu, is a player who represents the new age of football power, Kylian Mbappé. Goal number 50. And maybe just the beginning.